Swimming is scientifically proven to help release endorphins, the feel-good hormone that reduces stress and leaves a smile on your face. In this video, I'm going to share what causes anxiety and stress. Then I'm going to share 10 different ways that swimming can help reduce stress and anxiety. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to share a few different pro tips on how you can get started with swimming, or if you already swim, how you can improve your routine to reduce stress when you're at the pool. Now, it's really important to understand the causes of stress and anxiety. And before that, we have to actually understand why it's a problem. Because if you're stressed and if you have anxiety, which, by the way, all of us experience at some point in our lives, it can lead to the following problems: irritability, muscle tension. You're not able to recover because you're not sleeping well. You have over fatigue. I mentioned sleep disturbance. You have difficulty concentrating, and you can even increase your cortisol production, your levels of cortisol, which means you're going to basically have more fat deposited on your body. So you can actually gain weight because you're stressed. Now, like I mentioned, this is something that all of us experience in life, but what are some of the causes of these problems? Now, a few of the most common are actually caffeine. So if you have a coffee or a Coke, it can be a stimulant, and that can actually cause you to be stressed and overly anxious. Of course, drugs and alcohol, medication, supplements, all of these different things can have side effects that can cause you to be stressed. Also, there's underlying health issues. So if you have coronary heart disease or anything like that, you're more likely to have anxiety and stress. But I'd say there's a few different causes of life stress, and we're actually going to talk how swimming can impact each one of these. So one of them is time stress. Basically, you have so much to do, so little time. We pack so much on our plates, and we just don't know how we're going to get it all done, or we don't feel like we're moving fast enough. That's time stress. There's also money stress, so you got to pay the bills. At the end of the day, that's how society functions, and money can cause a lot of stress for a lot of people. There's another side to money, is just trying to come across like you're living a certain lifestyle, and even though you have enough to put a roof over your head, you still don't feel like that's enough, and you have to get more and more money. That's called money stress. There's also social stress, societal stress. That can be gossip and just worrying about what other people think. All of that fits under social stress. And then there's physical stress. Now, this can be any body discomfort you have. If you have aches or pains, I mean, literally just walking around, if you can walk, if you're able-bodied, there are different stresses that have to do with your body, your physical condition, and we would group all of those together in physical stress. Now, let's talk about 10 different ways that swimming can actually reduce stress. I already mentioned a little bit of chemistry, but we must mention that swimming releases endorphins. And if you're not familiar, endorphins are the hormones that are naturally occurring in your body to reduce pain and stress. So naturally, your body has endorphins, and these are sent out in your brain to reduce stress and pain that you may have. And what's scientifically proven is when you do physical activity, you get your heart rate up, whether it's swimming or any other activity, you actually reduce the same endorphins. So your body is naturally creating this, and we know through science that we can actually stimulate the production and release of these endorphins in your body. So that's why you should head to the pool. Another thing here is that swimming, the buoyancy of the water, reduces the impact on your joints, and that actually allows you to release physical stress on your body. So I already mentioned one of the stresses here is physical. So some people, they're not able to walk around. You might have pain when you walk around or sit around. And when you're in the water, it's this zero gravity medium, which is absolutely amazing. And you just feel like you're one with the water. And so that buoyancy of water, because you're in this medium that's 800 times more dense than air, it actually supports you to float. And because you can float, it actually reduces the amount of stress on your body and less physical stress. Swimming can also be an escape from the world. So we talked about societal, stress, the social stress of gossip and what other people think. And when you're in the water, you don't have to look at anyone. You can look at that beautiful blue or black line. If you swim open water, maybe you can't even see the bottom, and you're just in your own world. Now, I know there are some different issues there in terms of escaping from the world, because You know, maybe people see you in a swimsuit and you're not that comfortable, but if you can find an environment or a group of people that you are comfortable being in the water, you can essentially just say goodbye to everyone and put your face in the water and you're in a whole nother world. And you really can't do that with any other form of physical activity that allows you to release endorphins like you can with swimming. You're literally in a different world. And I would say swimming is relatively affordable. Now I know some people might think, yeah, no, swimming's expensive. I have to buy all this. I need a pool membership. It costs money every time I go to the pool. Yeah, well, that's how life works. So it costs money to do most activities. I know you can go outside for a run, or maybe if you have a bike, but you still need a bike, you still need running shoes. And with swimming, you just need a suit, goggles, cap, and you're good to go. Most pools, at least in the United States, cost on average less than $1 a day to be a part of. So for 30 bucks a month, 40 bucks a month, you can get to a facility that has a pool and pretty much, yeah, you're gonna swim for just $1, $2, $3, $5 max if you have some kind of a membership. I know with other countries, it's actually a lot less than that. So depending on your budget, you can probably figure out a way to build swimming into your routine that is relatively affordable. Now, swimming does not have to take a lot of time. I know sometimes people think, well, I have to get to the pool, I gotta change, I gotta take a shower. But when we're talking about relieving stress and anxiety, you don't actually have to swim that much to see all of these benefits that we're talking about. Let me know why you guys swim down below in the comments. We all have a different reason, whether it's swimming for our mental health, our physical health, we swim to compete, we swim because it's the only thing we know how to do really well and that's what we do. Doesn't really matter, but just remember your why, and most likely your why doesn't require you to spend 3 hours at the pool. Now, if you're trying to compete at the highest level, yeah, maybe it will actually require you to put in a lot of time in the pool. But for most people, for most people's goals, it really doesn't take that much time, maybe 5 to 10 minutes if you're a beginner, just to see the benefits. We're talking stress here, and also just building in a fitness routine. If you've been swimming a little bit longer, maybe 10, 20, 30 minutes will really put you in a position to alleviate that stress and get most of the benefits that we're talking about today. Now, number 6 is mental engagement is variable. I love this because when you swim, you can choose to swim back and forth continuously for 30 minutes. You get your cardio in and that's great. Or you can follow a structured workout. You can be on a team. You can choose how much mental stimulation you want while you're in the pool. So if you want to just shut off your mind, escape from the world, you can do that when you go swimming. If you want to be more engaged, if you want to think about your stroke technique, the feel your hand has as it enters the water, if you want to maximize your muscle engagement, there's so many things you could think about, and you don't have to do that every single time you swim. For me personally, I have a lot of variations. Sometimes I'm really engaged in what I'm doing, and other times I just go to the pool and I get my laps in and I hit a certain distance and time, and I'm pretty satisfied and I got pretty much all the benefits that we're talking about today. Now, another benefit of how swimming can reduce stress is the repetitive motion can actually be meditative. So especially if you're swimming in open water or you have a 50-meter pool, that's amazing. You can just swim, and that back and forth movement in the pool, moving your arms in a continuous rhythm, can actually be meditative. And that's something that you get from some other disciplines, but it's difficult to get that when you're weightlifting or something like that, or playing tennis or football. And so when you swim, you get these meditative properties because you can sort of go on autopilot. Especially if you've been swimming for a while, you actually don't need to think very much. Don't think, just swim. And that's something that is pretty unique to swimming. Now, swimming also teaches you how to breathe correctly. I know swimming and breathing are sort of, pretty important, right? Because if you don't know how to breathe, you're not going to be able to continuously swim. I know this is one of the biggest challenges, especially for beginner swimmers, and that's why it's so important to just learn how to breathe. In your nose, out your mouth. It's very important to exhale too. A lot of people hold their breath when you swim, and if you're holding your breath, it's going to make it that much more difficult, and you're going to feel like swimming is actually causing stress, and that's not what we want. So swimming actually really forces you, if you want to do it consistently, it forces you to figure out how to breathe correctly. And like I said, the biggest mistake a lot of swimmers make, especially beginners, is just holding your breath. Remember to exhale in your nose, out your mouth. Make sure you release that CO2. Now, swimming can also make it easier to sleep because it's a total body activity. So when you swim, you're really engaging your body because you're in this medium of water that is 800 times more dense than air. And as a result, you're really touching every single muscle. Literally, your body is immersed. When you go to the weight room, you hit the bench press, you do pull-ups, you're not really engaging, even with compound movements, your entire body. And that total body awareness and engagement makes it easier for you to fall asleep, which makes you more recovered, and it actually helps you reduce stress. Now, my last one on here, and then we'll talk about the pro tips of how you can incorporate this into your routine, is that swimming builds confidence and self-esteem. When you start the day with a swim, or you have a swim at night or at lunch, and you feel accomplished because you just went down and back in that pool, or you swam open water, and you feel like you can take on the world. So whatever challenges that you face in the world are just a little bit more manageable, a little bit smaller relative to the challenge of getting in the pool, whether it's cold or hot, and actually making it through a workout. Hats off to you. Now let's talk about a few different pro tips on how you can reduce stress. Now, these four are equally important, and I'm going to talk about each one at greater detail. So number one is finding a plan and sticking with it. One of the biggest causes for stress is not knowing what to do when you go to the pool. It's so important to have a plan, so that way you don't have to think about it when you get to the pool. Don't think, just swim. And that's why the MySwimPro app is a fantastic program to incorporate into your routine. I have the MySwimPro app right here with me. I'm actually going to share with you guys a workout that I wrote in this app called the Meditative Ladder Swim. Now, what I love about the MySwimPro app is that it personalizes a training program specific to you based on your skill level and also your goals. It also adapts based on how fast you are. So the workout I have here is 2,500 yards. It can be modified very easily by sliding up and down, but it starts with a 500 freestyle, nice and easy, followed by 650s backstroke, which I love. You're on your back, you're floating. Good opposite of the long axis stroke freestyle. Then we get into the main set, which is called main meditation, where in this case, we're going 2 rounds. We go 50, 100, a 150, a 200. That's the top of our ladder. Then we're gonna come back down where we go 150, 100, 50. If you do a 100 of silent swimming at the end, which is where we listen to the sound that our fingertips make when they enter the water, that puts us at 2,500 yards, and it should take you about 45 to 60 minutes to complete. Of course, the workout does change based on how fast you are. So just a simple example like that of having a workout plan in advance, so that way you're not even thinking about what you have to do when you get to the pool, that is the ultimate stress relief. Now, number two is actually just putting it on your calendar. Maybe it means finding an accountability buddy. If you prefer to do things on your own and no one's gonna swim with you, that's okay too. That's how I do it. But sometimes you might think, you know what, I don't have enough time to swim. But if you make it a part of your calendar, if you incorporate it as a part of your routine, you make it that much more likely to actually commit to the program, and you don't have to think about it. Oh, am I swimming today? Am I not swimming today? Do I have time today? Yes, you have time because you prioritize your schedule ahead of time. That's why it's really important to either put it on your calendar or figure out a routine where you can actually make it work. Now, I also recommend adding other forms of movement every day. We talked about the chemical benefits from a brain perspective of what happens with these endorphins, but we know because of time, we might not be able to get to the pool every single day. Or maybe you don't want to swim every single day. I personally do not swim every single day. Sometimes I swim more than other times, but I almost always have some kind of physical activity incorporated in my own routine. So whether that's lifting weights, going for a walk, bike ride, running, whatever it is that you do to get your body active, get your heart rate elevated a little bit, that way you can get that endorphin high just like you would when you're swimming, but you don't have to do it with swimming. Now, my final one is really, really important, and it is organizing gear the day before. Sometimes you think, oh my God, I have so many things to do in the morning. If you swim in the morning or at night or during the day, okay, I gotta grab my swimsuit, towel, goggles, where's my equipment bag? Forget about all that stress and just plan the day before. I know this helps a lot of people. I used to do this routine a lot where I actually plan out everything. What I'm gonna eat, what I'm gonna wear, what equipment I'm gonna need for the day ahead of me, if my swimming equipment, that means. And just figuring out your schedule ahead of time. And that relieves a lot of stress because it's one less thing that you have to think about. If you enjoyed this video, I know you're gonna love what happens to your body when you swim. I'll catch you guys at that video, and happy swimming.